Hello, this is a training on the Young Audiences Salesforce Student Management System. This is the system that we will be using for tracking all of our student parent data, test scores, attendance, and all of that type of information. You should have already seen the information about how to log in to Salesforce. And then once you log in, you should see a screen similar to this. Now, if it doesn't look like this, the most important things is if you don't see sites, classes, students, contacts, and accounts up here at the top, go over here to the little drop down and make sure you're choosing an app here called Student Tracking, or it might be called Students. As you can see, if you were, say, clicked on one of these, you get a different kind of look. So if it ever doesn't look the right way, go over here first. So then you can see we have it kind of set up as our sites, classes, students, accounts, and contacts. So I want to go through each of these with you. First, show you where all of the data is stored. So the main place to start most likely is to go to sites, and our summer sites will show up here. You'll see the most recent 5, but since we are actually using this student management system for both the Summer Arts and Learning Academies as well as the Summer Reads program, you may not see your site listed here. All you have to do is go to the view here where it says view all and hit go, and it will show you all of the sites, and you can also kind of go in alphabetical order if you want. So let's just stick with this is our test site here, San Francisco. Once you get into the San Francisco site, you will see some data here. You can see there's an error because there's actually no attendance being taken yet. But eventually you'll be able to see your site's average daily attendance rate, the number of students at your site that are attending at least 75% of the program, and thus the percentage of students attending 75% of the program, the total number of students that are enrolled here at this site. Now within sites, you have classes. So in the Summer Arts and Learning Academy, there will be between 10 and 12 classes at each site. You can see here in this section are our test classes that we've created. You will also see families. Now families will come back up a little bit later, but this is actually where we keep the contact information for all of the parents. Right now we just have one test family in here, but obviously there's going to be a lot more in the actual sites for the summer. So if I then click into a class, you'll see more information about that class. So this class, again, you can see kind of the average daily attendance, the number of students enrolled, the number of students attending 75% of the time. For the Summer Arts and Learning Academy, we'll be naming the classes something that's not the grade level. So let's just say it might be the butterflies, and we'll probably put the teacher's name. Actually, if I go back, this is a good example. So dragons in San Francisco, and Williams is the teacher name. I don't think I have any students in there. Yeah, so I can't use that one as my test, but that looks more like what the class names are gonna be. So then within that class, of course, you can also have the teacher's name to remind you which class it is until you learn them. Then in that class, you have your students. So you can see some made-up students that we have here. Again, you only see in this first view the first 5. So most of our classes are going to have more than 25 students in them. So you can have a couple of options to see all of them. You can show 3 more, as you saw when I just did that. Or if you actually click on this, it'll bring you to a page that show you all of the students that are in that site. So most of the stuff that we're going to be doing in terms of collecting, keeping track of data is actually done from the class page. So, and most likely 90% of the time, you're going to really only use these 2 fancy buttons here. So in the morning, once you get all of your attendance sheets back from your classrooms, you would go in, find the class, and then hit the top Take Attendance button. I will talk about taking attendance manually and editing grades manually in a second. Notice these are different buttons. So you want to click this Take Attendance button. What this is going to do is it's going to pull up every student in that class. And first, what you need to do is choose the date that you're taking attendance for. Most likely this will be the day that it is. So I'm doing this on May 10th. And then for each student, you have the choice of either present or absent. And then you can choose an additional option, which is that they were present but they were tardy, or they were present but they left early. Absent, there are no other categories for that. So present, absent, we'll have these two, tardy. Then once you finish all of that, just click Save. And you can actually see now that we have some attendance taken, it has updated our numbers here. So for today, 75% of our students are in attendance. I will now go over quickly to show you managing grades. So this is very similar to taking attendance, but for our pre and post tests, get manage grades. Again, it's going to pull up all of your students, and you can put in their grades. So let's just say we just finished the pre-score for the math test, and let me just put these in and just hit save. Next time you go in there, you're still going to have your scores there. So now let's just say it's our post score for math, and they went up to a 16. This person stayed the same at a 12, 11, 15, 15, 16, 16, 16. So you can kind of go in and out of that as you need. Say you actually need to change something. You misread the number, so that was actually a 1. You can go in and edit it, and then when you go back in, you can see it saved those changes. So that's how you keep track of all of the grades for all students. Now, all students, of course, aren't going to necessarily have a score in all of these. So only our kindergarten, first, and second grade students have the DIBELS scores. So the DIBELS NWF, the DIBELS ORF, and the DIBELS PSF. Both the pre and the post score are only for the second K through second grade students. So then let's just say you marked one student as absent, but they actually showed up and they're actually present. How do you go? But you've already done the attendance for that day. So how do you change that? If you went back to this class and you went back to take attendance and you go for today, it's not going to show you any students because it already thinks you've taken all of the attendance for today. So what you actually can do is go find your student. Let's say it's Brett here. And then this pulls up just Brett's specific kind of record here. And you can see this is the attendance that we took for today. If there was another one, there would be a list here with the multiple days. So you would find the date that you want to edit. And you can click on here. And then you could double click on present, absent, and again, early dismissal, blah, blah, blah. And hit save. You can also do it by, say, clicking the name, Jose, and check marking that, and then going to edit attendance manually. This is that button. So select what date we want to edit for. So we want to edit for today. And then it's saying, okay, now you can update the details for Jose. So I think we changed him to present, so or to absent. So if I do this, your attendance has been taken, just hit finish. So then if we say we're back into Jose here, you can see for today his attendance status is present. That is basically how we're going to keep track of information. Now where do we store information? So let's just go back into Jose here again for a minute. And you can see that we don't have any contact information here for Jose. But if you actually click on his name, notice here you're now under contacts. So for every student, Jose in this case, there's a student record, and the student record is where we keep the the grades and the attendance information. But then there's also a contact record for that same student, so it's under the same name, and they're linked together. So you could see when I was over here under the math class that I went to Jose. If I click here on the student, it takes me to that. Now, obviously, with the student, we don't have any information in here yet, but this is where we would have the various fields. So their ethnicity, their home school number, their BCPS record first name. That basically means what does city schools say their first name is? Maybe different than what they used on their application, which is what you would have over here. Then you have the student's mailing info, their shirt size, date of birth, languages, where they go to school, all of the information that they filled out on the application. Do they have an IEP? Do they have a 504 plan? Are they an ESOL student? Are they interested in aftercare? That kind of thing. Then you can see another link here is to the family. So students, which has the information about attendance and grades, is connected to the student contact, which has that student's contact and other specific information. And then the student contact is related to a family, which is a family account. So if I click on this, you'll notice our tab up here is going to come to accounts. So you can see this is the Alcala family. Again, we have the contact information there. And when you scroll down, you see, oh, they have two contacts. So those are two student contacts. So Jose, if I click on that, this page should look familiar. So it's taking us back to Jose's page. But then there's another person. There's another person in this family. If you click on that student, Floor, it will take you to her contact, student contact information page. So accounts are basically the family account, the family information. So an account can have multiple students connected to it. And then you can see it kind of goes back full circle and that the accounts are connected to the sites. So the Alcala family is connected to the San Francisco site. If I click that, it takes me back here to that first page that we looked at. So I could go into math, I could go into Jose again, that's Jose's student record. Then I could go into Jose's contact record, then into his family record, and back to his site information. So that is the basics of the student management system. When you get into this for the first time, all of the students, the accounts, the contacts, the classes, and the sites, all is going to be set up for you. So the only time when you might be adding information other than the attendance or the grades is, say, if you get a new student, or let's just say you find out that the parent has a new phone number or something of that nature. Other than that, the only type of data that you're really putting in is keeping track of their attendance and their scores. So let me go ahead and just show you if you do need to, say, edit or add new students or add new families or add new student contacts. So let's just say Jose here. There's not really any information that you need to add in the student, because all of that comes from either the grades or the attendance. So it's really either the contacts or the accounts where you potentially could change or make new ones for new students. So if I go into Jose student contact, any of these you can actually double click on. So let's just say you found out that the student has a different cell phone number. You can just double click on that and type it in and hit save. Don't forget to hit save. And it'll turn, it's orange when it's not saved, and then when it saves, which it just did, then it becomes black, so it looks more permanent. But you can actually come back in here and change it again. Hit save. That's not even a real phone number, but you get the idea. So again, you can do that with any of these various things on the student contact information. Same with account. You know, you can come in and add and hit save on any of that information. So let's just say you get a brand new student. Now, most likely, somebody here at Young Audiences is going to add that student in for you and create the family account and create the contacts and the student record and put them in a class. But if you ever do need to create either a new account or a new contact or a new student, I want to show you how to do that. So I always start with the family. Family is like, you know, the highest level. There's families, and then underneath that you have the student contact info, and then underneath that you have their student record, which includes their grades and their attendance. So if you actually just click on accounts here, and you see this little button that says new. Click on new. It's going to say what kind of a record type, what kind of account are we making. For the summer, for this, we are always using family. So choose family and click continue. Then you'll see this should look familiar, right? It's all the same information that's on the family account page already. So all you need to do is we use the parent, whatever their first parent or guardian name is, Curtis Donnelly, and then we are going to be using family, and then just in case there happens to be two Curtis Donnelly families, we'll put the name of the school, so Gardenville. And I know our records that are currently in this demo aren't named this, but when we actually import all of our students in, they will be named that. So you'll be used to seeing the name, the family, and then the site name. So, then you know, you can go ahead and type in all the other information that you need to put in there, and hit save. Excuse me. Then you want to go ahead and connect them to which site are they in. So if you choose to click on that little button there, you can either start typing the name, let's just say San Francisco, of the site, and then click on the option and then hit save. You'll know that you did it right if San Francisco or whatever the site name is a link, so it's underlined and you can click on it. So now, okay, now we have our family. So then we need to go ahead and create our students underneath that, so our student contact information. So now you scroll down here, hit new contact, and then you got to choose again. And we're always going to use student contact. So click on student contact, and then we type in the name and all of the information. Now we shouldn't be adding any students without a student ID number, but there you go. So you can type all of that in, and you'll see, okay, it already knows the student is part of the Curtis Donnelly family at Gardenville. So go ahead and hit save on that. And then And now that we have our new student contact record, the last part is that we need to create a student record so that we can keep track of their attendance and their grades. Again, this will just be named for the same student. We're using Bob Donnelly here. You go to the bottom, you go ahead and type in Bob Donnelly. You can see it already knows that the student record, student contact record for that is the one Bob Donnelly, and then it's going to ask you for the class. So we can type the name of the class, you know, let's just say they're becoming part of the Dragons, and the class is called that. Go ahead and hit save. And then now we are at the student record. Now, of course, we don't have any attendance or anything for them yet, but if we go to the class that is part of the site of San Francisco, we can see we now have Bob Donnelly. So if we click on Bob Donnelly, this would be their grades and their test scores. And then if you click on this, this will be their contact information. And then if you click on this, this is their family page, and back to the site. So that is the general overview of how to put in attendance, how to put in grades, how to edit or create new students or families for the student management system.